That's a great question. But so I am originally, I don't know if you can tell from Sibanda and maybe from the accent, that even though I'm based at Saddleback in Orange County, right, your boy hails from an African context. And the social philosophy where I come from is very different. It is Ubuntu, right? And that means our value system and our contribution only matters within a communal context, right? But when we look at the West and the Americas and a lot of the spaces shaping what I call the ethos and the culture of the church moving forward, right? We export a lot of the culture of the church. I'm talking within the Western context. But the truth of the matter is, if we look at our sociology always informs our theology, not the other way around, right? And our sociology hails from a capitalist framework, right? And so that also forms a lot of our interactions. So at their core, right, our interactions as people are utilitarian. I mean, think of it this way. I always kind of give this example. When you go or you have a casual encounter with a person, the first thing you ask, obviously, the pleasantry is and the names. But the next question is always, what do you do, right? But in a lot of older contexts, like the Ubuntu context where I come from, what people ask is, what is your family, right? They ask, where are you from? And that question in those particular contexts, like Ubuntu or Sanko for Middle Eastern or African, isn't about geography when they say, where are you from, but genealogy, as in what family are you from? So now what I'm saying is come to this capitalist framework that is informing our sociology and then informing our theology. And at its core, the expression can only be utilitarian. So then that means if people feel like they're being used, it is unnatural to the core of who we are, made to be beings of unity by a God who has always existed in community, right? And when we step into those spaces, then all of a sudden, the loneliness that we feel and the disconnectedness that we feel, I think, is just the natural outflow of the capitalist framework trying to create spaces of connection and community. So I think that's where a lot of the disconnection is happening, because if you look, and I mean genuinely look, in a lot of the Middle Eastern and the African context that have not accepted fully the export culture from the West, you'll find that that's not the primary ailment or pandemic in those particular spaces. So once again, I think the answer, I don't know if you asked for the answer, but just speaking of the loneliness, I think the answer then is going, once again, what can we learn from the missionaries from the outside world? Barna did an incredible study when he talked about the face of the future church. And you essentially kind of know what I'm talking about. And it's like there's a reversal. We used to, in the Western context, send missionaries out there. Now, what are those missionaries and their cultures and their values bringing back into this? And at the core of a lot of those cultures, whether African or Middle Eastern, is a strong communal, social, and cohesive nucleus. And when we can, once again, that's why you've noticed that the churches that are thriving right now are churches that are stripped down, organic, with a strong small group culture and something in the space of contribution at the middle. So I think the loneliness pandemic comes from a natural outflow of our capitalist framework. When we bring in people and missionaries from other contexts and ask them what are they bringing to the table, I think that's essentially how we fix it.